Good evening, guys. This is Jack. Just turning in my vlog. It is quite simple, really. I'm just going to go through each point that we're supposed to do in the activity in the order that I put it on my submission. So I think it's the order that most of us put it on our submissions is questionnaire, then the data collected from the teacher questionnaires, and then I go on to the integration of technology in the lesson plan that I received from a teacher named Mr. Andrew from my own school. And the analysis of these lesson plans, I finally give my checklist, and it ends with that. Here's the questionnaire I gave to my interviewees in my interviews. I'll just leave it up here for a little bit so you guys can get a look at them. So in the data collected from my teachers, I'm going to start off with the teacher that provided me his lesson plans. As you can see in the first question, and I put it also in my analysis at the end, he says he was kind of old school when it came to technology usage, and I already knew beforehand that he was going to provide me with his lesson plan, and I thought, man, maybe I made a mistake, but it turned out that he actually integrates it a whole bunch, at least in the math and English language lesson plans that he provided for me. I'm just going to scroll down slowly on each one of these, pick out the most interesting ones. Now we work at the same school, so number 3, yeah, our Wi-Fi has been failing for quite a long time now, and actually all 3 of my interviewees said the same thing. All 3 are in Honduras. In 2 separate schools. This one's the only one I had in my own school, and the other 2 are from my old school, people I still talk to over there. But the consistency of the internet seems to be a major problem. Number 8 is pretty much clear across the board on the bad things. What disciplinary issues arise, either positive or negative, due to technology use in the class? This is a recurring theme. They say many, cheating, bullying, and overall distraction. As good as a tool as it is, it can be quite a bother as well. I think this is the only teacher that mentioned collaborating from afar. Maybe not. Here is the second teacher I interviewed from my old school, an English teacher. He started out with pretty short, concise answers like, how would you rate the availability and access to technological devices and services at your school? He just said a 4 out of 10. He elaborated that they, again, just don't have Wi-Fi or consistent Wi-Fi. They don't have projectors in their classrooms, and they don't have a classroom computer, things that we have at our school. And we talked about that, and I said, I know. So 4 out of 10, I'd probably give it, knowing that school, I'd give it a 5 or 6 out of 10, but he just came from the US, so I guess he's thinking about it with the resources that he saw over there. This is pretty much the same for the 2 teachers that are from the last school: an overhead projector, classroom computer, internet, and a smartboard. We don't have smartboards either. The biggest benefits of integrating technology in your class: breaking up the monotony, helps the teacher and the student get more variety. It serves to reinforce a topic. Interactivity is a big one for all 3. But again, like you see 8, some negative things, but I like the good thing that he said. He told me an example of a debate class he had today, and the students quickly went in to research some data and some stats that backed him up and some charts that backed him up. So that was a really good use of technology that he gave me as an example. This is my 3rd and final participant in the questionnaire survey. Again, pretty straightforward when it comes to availability of services. Basically, the Wi-Fi is just not consistent. I imagine it's a countrywide thing since we're in the biggest city here, and we're having problems with it. It cannot be too much better outside of this city. What have been the biggest benefits of integrating technology in your class? It has facilitated student-to-student communication. They can get isolated, yeah, but use comment sections. It helps students that are less amenable to opening up in class and have equal footing with kids who are more verbal. He told me about a story where he was there's a kid in his class that never speaks. Literally, to him, he's never said a word, not hi, not bye, nothing. And he doesn't talk in class to his classmates either, or outside of class, but he had a conversation with them because he wanted to see if they were simultaneously editing a Google Docs. Of course, you see the other person as they're typing something. So they basically had a live chat there. And he was helping them do that, and he felt like he got through to him through Google Docs and the chat there. So these are the lesson plans for the first teacher I showed you in the data collected from teachers. It's his lesson plan for 1 week. It's a fourth grade, math and language arts. So, as I mentioned before, he had said he was a little bit old school on tech, but as you can see here, just about everything. They use IXL. Then they have this online math playground, quizzes. I've used that a whole bunch. Khan Academy, I've seen that a lot of math teachers use it. Again, math playground. Let's go down to language arts. Videos, very heavy on videos. This is one of 2 quizzes, I think, that you'll see here. And more apps and sharing also in Google Drive. The lesson plan, admittingly to me, I look at this and I think it's quite vague, but even so, I can tell there's a lot of integration of technology in his day-to-day class lessons. Okay, and here's my analysis of Mr. Andrews' lesson plans. Thankfully, he gave me 2, so I had more to work with. 2 1-week lesson plans. I'll try to go through it as quickly as possible and not stretch this video out too long. So basically, as I stated, I just made a list of the 7 educator standards as stated by ISTE and try to find an example in the lesson plans that my interviewee provided that are in accordance with any of those standards or their subsets. Each one seemed to have 3 or 4 subsets. So learner, from the lesson plans, I chose this one and this one. 2 activities in one, really. Seen to be in accordance with the ISTE Standard 1A, set professional learning goals to explore and apply pedagogical approaches made possible by technology and reflect on their effectiveness. The one I had trouble finding an example in his lesson plans for was this one, leader. I just went through them a few times and I couldn't really find one. And I say so here. I mean, I went through the subsets as well, and I just really couldn't find one that fit to this. Now, citizen, when I read it, I thought that he had a good bit of examples, so I didn't want to put just one. As I state here, establish a learning culture that promotes curiosity and critical examination of online resources and fosters digital literacy and media fluency, 3B. Almost all their lessons and activities seem to promote exactly that, so I would have thought it unfair to just bring one down. Really, the whole lesson plan shows that. Collaborator. The best example I could find is the children collaborating with their teachers by sharing on the teacher's Google Drive their brain pop. No, I'm sorry, their own poem that they get from the 4 types of poems. I didn't see much collaborating student to student. I'm sure a lot of those activities, the students got involved with each other, but it wasn't explicitly written in the lesson plan. Designer. I chose this lesson. Students will practice the spelling and definition of the words through games and activities in Spelling City. They will create a word cloud using all the words from the list, and it gives the link to the online app. And of course, I thought it fit nicely with Standard 5 here for ISTE. Facilitator. This, like Citizen, I thought just about every day, if not every day, they showed that they were doing something that was in accordance with Facilitator. So pretty much everything. And the last one, Analyst. I chose a couple from the lesson plans. And I'll just read that last part of the analysis here. They are using quizzes to assess the kids, but also to show the kids their progress, since quizzes is an interactive quiz game that shows the real-time results of the people participating in it to all of the class. Corresponds to 7A. Corresponds really well to 7A. And there I'm just repeating what I told you guys. I was expecting a very low level of tech or tech usage here, but luckily it wasn't so. And I've already stretched this out far enough, so I'll just conclude with my checklist and I'll just read them out to you. Will the technology serve to further students' learning in a fun, productive way? Will the students be engaged and involved, or is the technology going to make them draw into their device? What kind of learning is the technology providing that I as a teacher could not provide them with? Why use technology in a certain lesson plan if there are other non-technological approaches? How can I use technology to differentiate with kids that are at a different learning level than the rest of their classmates? I'll end it with that. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night.